thank you so much for coming and making the journey. Before I let her say what she wants to say to you, tell us how bad this was, because a lot of people hear the word meningitis. You know, it doesn't touch a lot of families personally. 3,000 people a year in this country get meningitis. About 380 of them die every year from the illness. And out of other 3,000, up to 1,000 can be permanently disfigured, damaged. And this is much more of a severe illness than most people think.
Yes, she actually had even something worse than meningitis. She had what's called pulmonary meningococcemia sepsis, and that is a step even further than meningitis, where the infection gets through the body's defenses and gets into the bloodstream, and not only does it go around the brain, like meningitis, but then it goes into the entire system, and it causes multi-organ failure. Your ability to breathe, the infection affects it also, so that you can't breathe like you normally can, because it damages the lungs also.
Let's give the real number. When she walked in that hospital, you know, most of the time you walk in the hospital, you think, you know, she's got a 40%, 60% chance to live, 70% chance to live. She had a 98% chance to die.
Yes, yes. Not only was it a horrible thing, but it also really brought it to home that this could be my family, my wife. And I remember telling you, I think once, that I was going to take care of her like my wife or my sister. Right. And that's why I stayed, because the shift was over at 6:30 and she came in at 5:45, and so I stayed an extra 5 hours after a long 10-hour shift to make sure the right things happened on that shift. But you know, that's what I would expect for someone to do for my family. And so,
Maggie, what do you want to say to this guy?
I don't really know if words can even express my thanks to you. I do remember your face. I remember your face. Now that I see you, I remember that. I'm so glad that you didn't do the test and that you waited for the result, but you started treating me right away. And I'm so glad you knew what you were seeing, what I had when I came in. I'm sure you had a big hunch that that's what it was, and you didn't waste any time. And if you had wasted time, I might not have been here. I just say thank you.
you're welcome.
Doc, you know, even with this success, though, it's got to be tough on a person like yourself, because, I mean, I know, looking at you and looking at who I think I know who you are, you're the type of guy who didn't want to give up at all. No. This amputation was not going to happen, but it had to happen.
Yeah, that's probably been the hardest thing about all this, because, you know, we had 4 nurses on you immediately, and I had 5 specialists in to see you within that hour. And despite all those things, I remember coming to your husband, and I think I was in tears, if I remember right, and giving him a hug and telling him that despite all those things, we were doing everything. I just didn't expect, you know, when you have to tell someone that you know that they may lose their hearing or their eyesight or their brain function or their kidney function beyond dialysis, or their arms and legs and their ears. I mean, it's a horrible thing when you see that picture, and then to have to tell a husband that and let alone knowing what's going on with the patient. It was very difficult.
Let me take a break. We'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll be back right after this.
Matthew was actually declared